Hey guys, so for today's review, I've actually had a bit of a dry spell and considering because I've been looking for new fanfics to do. So when I find a new one, I just do it right away, and I haven't been able to find one lately. But the guy I mentioned in a couple videos back, PK, sent me a message over YouTube and basically said, you like Grimdark, because he dares me to check out this story and he had already reviewed it and would like to hear my opinion on it. So, PK, thank you very much for the suggestion, man. I really like those because I can get an idea of what my audience wants to hear as a review. So, he already reviewed it. I did not check out his video yet. I will afterwards, though, because I want to remain not unbiased, but I want to remain original. So, any similarities between my video and his is purely coincidental. So the story is called Momma Fluttershy, and I read through the entire thing. And while yeah, you guys want my opinion whether you should read it or not first before I get into it. Well, it's written by Soulhook, and Soulhook actually does quite a bit of good work, but it is his first attempt at a grimdark. I've read some of Soulhook's other works, and I kind of like them. I am into the more mature rated fandom because, well, I'm 18, and it kind of intrigues me to see what people come up with. So I read a lot of Soulhook stories, and if you guys want my opinion whether you should read it or not, uh, as it's the same recommendation as Cupcakes. If you are offended by strong gore, you will not like this story in the slightest. Strong gore, strong, explicit sexual acts, including rape, the character death, all that good stuff. I say the word, I use the term good loosely. All that stuff, then you won't like this story. If you are on the fence about it, please stick around, hear the review, know what you're getting into before, because as PK said, it's pretty gross. It's pretty disturbing. It's pretty disgusting. But at the same time, it's not a bad grimdark. Like I would rate it maybe on par with Cupcakes, maybe a little bit higher in my own mind rating scale. So we're looking at characters, plot, scenery, implicit, explicit. So the characters of Fluttershy and Twilight Sparkle, Big Mac is mentioned. He doesn't really count because he is given a minor part at best. He's there for half a second. Fluttershy is pregnant in the story, and she is very close to her televised persona, which is usually good. I don't think it's bad in any way if she's like her televised persona. She is timid. She's very weak, and more so because she has a foal, which makes a lot more sense. That she would be like this in this sense. Twilight Sparkle is mentioned, and her attitude is a little bit off, but that is explained later in the story because she is a changeling. Spoilers. Spoilers. A spoiler point has already been passed here, people. Like, I mean, as soon as you guys heard my suggestion whether you should read it or not, the spoiler point has always been passed, and that's just the way it is. I'm sorry if I spoiled it for you because you were listening to this video foolishly while you read the story. But yeah, she's a changeling, ends up being a changeling at the end, and that kind of I want to say it almost dumbs down the grimdark a little bit, because if it was Twilight Sparkle herself doing it, it'd be a lot more dark. That a friend would do that to a friend. You got the whole betrayal aspect. You got the whole personality conflict. I could look into the psychology of the character. Twilight Sparkle has history for mental breakdowns, but in this case, it's a changeling doing it for in order to make more changelings, and that's the whole reason behind this story. So the characters weren't bad. I like them way better than Sweet Apple Massacre. Maybe not as well thought out as Cupcakes. Maybe somewhere, maybe a little less so. But this story focuses a lot more on action than scary dialogue. So we'll go to settings now. Settings takes place in Fluttershy's cottage. If you ever watch the show, you can picture exactly what that is like. So that is interesting because Cupcakes and Sweet Apple Massacre it took place in somewhere where you have never seen before, so you can really picture it as well. But you know what Fluttershy's cottage looks like. You can understand that, the concept of it. And one of the cool things is all the bad things that happen in someone's own home, the place where you're supposed to feel the most safe, and that kind of adds to the whole grimdark aspect of the story. Her animals are hiding as this is happening and watching as all the bad stuff is happening. So that kind of adds to it that her animals are powerless to help their mother figure, during this crisis. What are we looking at? Setting, characters, setting, plot. Okay, so the plot is that Twilight Sparkle, who is actually a changeling, comes in and gives Fluttershy a present. Fluttershy is pregnant, gives her a present as like a good luck kind of thing. Fluttershy opens it up and there's a scroll. She reads the scroll out loud, and she gets tentacle raped by this weird ass thing. It rapes her. This is hard to say because there's a lot of explicit stuff in here, so like 18 plus, honestly, like please pay attention to that. But she gets raped, all three of her holes, which kind of is a little too much for my liking. But and the thing is, he pays a lot of attention to this, and that's one of the things that kind of shifts it away from being a grimdark and more towards like a friggin' a clop horror. It's horror for the sake of being, or it's clop for the sake of being scary. And I don't really I can't appreciate that genre as well as I should be being a reviewer. There's something about it that just irks me. But I'd still give it a chance. And she gets raped, and then one of the tentacles in her pulls out, and a new one comes, and it basically eats her unborn foal. Like it tears through and eats her, well, not tears through her stomach, but goes through her thing, and it eats the unborn foal, pulls out, and then another one comes and starts pumping her full of eggs, while the one that was in her derriere has gone all the way through her organs, like internal organs, has come out through her mouth, and then she kind of explodes, and she's dead. And then all the eggs hatch, and they're changelings, and the changelings eat the body. And then Big Mac comes, and then they eat Big Mac. And then it's revealed that Twilight is a changeling throughout the entire thing. It was trying to get all the Harmony Bearers dead, so I'm assuming it's chrysalids trying to return. So the plot itself is it's an interesting take, I guess, on the whole grimdark thing. It's really screwed up. I try to be as unjudgmental as possible. Like if I see something that's gross, I don't say, that's a bad grimdark. This one's pretty decent actually. While I wouldn't go and read it again because I don't personally enjoy it. The grimdark aspect of it was pretty good. Explicit themes. There's the being raped and abused in your own home is more terrifying than being raped and abused on the street, because it's a place you feel the safest, and you will never feel safe there again. Character death is a very explicit theme. That's why I'm talking about explicit. I don't know if I said implicit or not, but explicit. The horror of having her unborn foal eat it is just screwed up. And the knowledge that she has that whatever is doing it to her could also hurt the stallion that she loves, as well as her animals. So those are all explicit themes. Those are all things that anyone can get if they look just kind of semblance at the story, the idea. What about implicit themes? What can I take from it? What can I, with my big old psychological brain, being sarcastic here anyways, get from this story? What's interesting about it to me? What can I find from it? Not too much, honestly. This story uses the action of rape as most of the horror. It uses the actions to depict horror and grimdark more than it uses any psychological aspect. So unfortunately, it falls short in the implicit scary things. I don't think I could go through it and find something like we know Twilight doesn't have a bipolar disorder because she's a changeling. We know Fluttershy doesn't have any problem because she's merely a victim. She shows a victim personality. Big Mac doesn't have anything because, well, he's Big Mac. He's 3 words and that's it. And he's not even important in the story. So there's no real psychological aspect I can take away from this. The closest thing psychological would be the explicit theme of being abused in your own home and knowing that whatever it's doing it to you can hurt someone else you love. So that's the closest thing I could find to it. So it has 3.5 points maybe out of 5. Characters were a little shoddily done, but at least they kept true to the story, and Twilight is a changeling, so her actions are excused. The premise was okay. It was like, whatever. Explicit was fantastic, because that's just the way it is. Most stories have a fantastic explicit theme. And the setting, being molested in your own home, is horrible. So that's 3. That's 3 because I got half of 1 for characters and half of 1 for plot. No, half of 1. Half of 1 for plot. So as 3 out of 5. So I would say that's an average grimdark. It's right on the line with Cupcakes. Maybe it's just slightly above Cupcakes because the character development is a bit better, and I appreciate that a lot more. And plus, it's better spaced out across the board, so that kind of makes it better in my opinion. Well, Side PK, this is for you, man. Thanks for sending me the message. This is my review of Momma Fluttershy, a story with a very deceptive title, actually. Now that I think about it, the title is very. You can click on it, and this is not what you expect. But so this is my review of it. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks SciPK for giving me the idea for it. Link to the story and to his channel below if you guys want to read it, and if you guys want to watch his opinion, please do. I'm sure he'll appreciate that. And I guess that's it. Just remember, don't read any scrolls your friends give you as presents because they could summon tentacles to molest you. That ending was so forced. My apologies.